Greetings and welcome to week 12 in our convene class in Genesis. The text that we're dealing with for this week is chapters 24 through chapter 27. And you've got some reading from commentaries, and don't forget to be working on your exegesis paper. I know several of you have emailed me about passages and are checking on things, so stay attuned to that. That it'll sneak up on you if you aren't working on it along the way. Just a couple words about the passages that we're going to be looking at for you to be thinking about. Chapter 24 is the story of Abraham sending his servant, I don't know if he's named Eliezer here or not, but his servant back to his home area of Haran, to his brother Laban, to find, brother Laban or nephew Laban, I can't remember right now, sending him back to him to find a wife for Isaac. It's a long chapter, long narrative chapter, lots of descriptive sorts of detail. Give attention to it for a couple things as you read and study and reflect on the commentaries and consider other research you might someday do on this chapter. First of all, notice how it reflects cultural customs of the time. Nose rings and things like that, the watering of animals at the well, the role that women played in that kind of labor. Quite a variety of sort of cultural customs are on display in chapter 24. The whole issue of marriage, dowry, and gifts and things of that nature. Even the swearing with a hand on the thigh. You swear with your hand at the most vulnerable point for a man. It is an indication of seriousness, the reliability of the oath that you're swearing because of that. Give attention also to the way the story of chapter 24 is constructed for ease of remembrance in the oral tradition. So that as you pay attention to repetitions of speeches and things that are said that contribute to that. And it will give you insight, I think, into the way narratives are told in the biblical world in an oral culture and how they try to make that narrative more memorable, more rememberable. Certainly chapter 25 brings the end of the Abraham cycle, mentions the marriage to his final wife Keturah and his other children, the death of Abraham. Do notice that Isaac and Ishmael cooperate. They come together at the burial of their father. So there is not hostility between those two sort of fathers of Middle Eastern groups, but cooperation at this point. Then after a brief treatment of the descendants of Ishmael, you have the account of the birth and the first years of Esau and Jacob. And Esau, you need to know, represents ultimately the country of Edom, which is going to be a major rival of Israel. And so you see the rivalry of these two nations, Israel and Edom, already being played out in the rivalry of these two siblings, two twins, in their conflict, even in their birth. And the conflict that takes place in the way their parents treat them. And you certainly have examples here of bad parenting on the part of Isaac and Rebekah. First story of Isaac and Abimelech, then in chapter 26, and you should recognize themes that are already repeating out of the Abraham story. And then in chapter 27, give attention to the way in which Jacob steals the birthright from Esau and then steals the blessing from Esau. You have a nature, a sense here of, again, the customs or the cultural patterns of the ancient Near East and those kinds of things that are being observed there. Notice also in this chapter the issue of intermarriage with folks, the local Canaanite folks, and the distress that is bringing to the line of the people of God. And this is going to be the beginning of a long, long Old Testament pattern of trying to preserve the purity of holy faith on the part of the people of God by virtue of preserving or protecting a holy lineage or a holy line, a holy set of descendants. And of course, that is going to then be a springboard to the sending of Jacob back to the same place that to get his wife from the same place that Isaac got Rebekah, and Rebekah playing a role in all of that. So some fascinating stories for this week. Give attention to the Bible Manners and Customs, particularly Adam McEwen. Take note of the theological implications that are at work in this text. How is it that God is attempting to speak? And again, through Borgmann's textbook, how is God starting this work already? First with Isaac, not much, but then particularly in the Jacob cycle. Okay, have a great week, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.